Many of you probably heard this lie over and over again in the media when it comes to the NBA, and that is Kobe Bryant wasn't athletic but very skilled. But understand, this is not true basketball analysis. This is narrative control. And in this video, we're exposing why this myth exists and what's it really trying to hide. Okay? Because this is a dang, as you look on the screen, the work that Kobe Bryant putting in, and yet many people saying this, many people running to this, many people trying to hide behind this false narrative that Kobe Bryant was not very athletic. Huh? So we gonna deal with this. Now the question that stand to be answered is, where did this lie come from, and why is it very useful when it comes to Kobe Bryant? Now, I want y'all to take this ride with me. I want y'all to get out your feelings. I want y'all to get out of your emotions. And I want to deal with this thing from fact. I want to deal with this thing from reality, even the eye test, as you can see on the screen. Okay? And this doesn't take nothing away from Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was a very elite scorer, one of the top ones to ever come through the NBA. But to push this notion, to push the narrative that he wasn't athletic is a straight up lie. Look at this. It's a straight up lie. Okay? But anyway, the claim that Kobe wasn't that athletic, he was just skilled, didn't exist during his prime. You didn't hear people talking about Kobe Bryant wasn't athletic. You didn't hear people talking about when he was at his peak, when he was at the prime of his career, that he wasn't athletic. But this is something that emerged later on in his career. Why? Why did this emerge? Why was this lie start being pushed by the media, by sports analysis? Huh? It start being pushed because advanced stats culture took over. And with advanced stats culture taking over, guess what had to come into play? Efficiency. Efficiency was one of the main debates that dominated comparison between superstars, especially when comparison intensified between MJ and LeBron and other modern day scorers. Okay? And this is when this narrative began to be pushed. Why? Because it allowed analysis in dealing with comparison to MJ. And even when they was making comparisons from between Kobe Bryant and MJ, it helped explain away the inefficiency that Kobe had in comparison to MJ. And so to make up the gap, I know y'all, a lot of y'all about to get mad at this, to make up the gap to give Kobe somewhat an excuse, the narrative was being pushed that he wasn't athletic, even though he done won the dunk contest, even though you see what he doing right here on the screen. Oh my goodness. This lie I'm talking about, come on, walk with me, y'all. The lie that he was just skilled, it helped reframe. Listen to me, y'all. It helped reframe the shot difficulty that he took rather than his shot selection. It's a difference. It's a big difference. It's a difference between shot difficulties and shot selection. And being able to say that he wasn't athletic gave him an excuse for his bad shot selection. Oh man, I want y'all to walk with me. So what it did, or what it ended up doing for Kobe Bryant, it ended up elevating him to a position of a pure scorer instead of a one that's physically dominated when it comes to the NBA. But as you can see, as I'm gonna keep pointing out, as you can see on the screen, he was athletic. And not only athletic, but very athletic, especially in his prime. So this is part of the reason why the lie or the narrative that was being pushed by sports analysis and fanboys that Kobe Bryant wasn't athletic, and that was to make up for his inefficiency when it comes to scoring, to make up for the bad shot selection when it comes to scoring. Now, listen to me. Hear me out. This false binary, athletic versus skill, is at the core of the deception when it comes to Kobe Bryant. The media created a false split because let's go back to the comparison between MJ, LeBron James, and Kobe. And when people talk about it, right? Let's deal with this false binary. Let's deal with this false split. When people talk about them three, this is what they say. LeBron, he's very athletic. Kobe, he's just only skill. But MJ, he's both athletic and skill. You see the narratives that have been pushed. And I'm going to keep reminding you, look at the screen. Look at the screen. Look at the work that Kobe Bryant doing. Look how he's moved. Look how he's flying in the air. Look at this stuff. He's athletic, but this have to go along with the narrative that was being pushed. Okay? LeBron James, he's athletic. He's not that skilled. Kobe, he's skilled. MJ, he's both athletic and skilled. So if you have to pick, when it comes to a score, you're going to pick Kobe Bryant over them because Kobe Bryant, he's only skilled. He's not athletic. But watch this deception. Let me break this down. Watch this deception. People will say Kobe Bryant's not athletic, okay? They will say that he's skilled. Now watch this. And I don't mean to be harsh. This is how it is for a lot of fanboys. And to reiterate to you, what is a fanboy? A fanboy is somebody who refuses to accept truth because the truth affects that which is near and dear to his heart. For example, a fanboy of somebody of D Wade, okay? If they hear truth about D Wade not being this and that, they're not going to accept it because it don't go along with what near and dear to their heart. Okay? So they reject the truth because they want to keep their favorite player or their favorite, whatever the case may be, elevated and push that elevation of that player, even though truth is right there in plain sight. Okay? And this is how a lot of fanboys do with Kobe Bryant. Even though they're looking at the screen and seeing how athletic Kobe Bryant is, even though this man won the dunk contest, even though this man was able to do things in the air against people, and yet they will still push this narrative, still push this lie that he's not athletic because it helped in their mind push a narrative to elevate that he was more skilled. But here go the deception that I was getting to. I want y'all to pay attention to this. They'll say he was more skilled than MJ, but at the same time say that he patterned his game after MJ. Which one it is? He more skilled than MJ or his game was just like MJ? And remind you that he is compared, or should I say, he patterned his game after the later MJ, not after the 88, 90, 89, or the 87, or even the 90 MJ. Because that MJ was something different when it came to being athletic and skill. So he patterned his game after the late MJ because he couldn't come near that type of MJ being athletic or skill-wise, okay? But to get back to it, elite scorers, I want y'all to hear me out. Elite scorers are always athletic in the NBA. You're not going to see an elite scorer who's not athletic. Okay? You got people that's able to shoot the ball. You understand me? You got people who are able to average 20 a game because they got a good shot. They got a good three ball. They know how to hit the shot coming off picks and whatnot. But when it comes to a scorer, I'm not talking about a shooter. There's a difference between a shooter and a scorer. When it comes to a scorer and that of an elite scorer, you have to be athletic. When you go down through history and look at all of the elite scorers, they always is athletic. What is we talking about? Skill doesn't exist in a vacuum alone. When it comes to this narrative that's trying to be pushed by, look at this. Look at this. When it comes to this narrative trying to be pushed for Kobe Bryant, skill doesn't exist in vacuum alone. When you is an elite scorer, being athletic ties to your footwork because you got to have explosive hips to go along with your footwork. Shot creation requires certain bursts. Separation from your defender requires certain speed. Fadeaways require vertical lift and core strength, and people who are athletic is able to master the fadeaway game like Kobe Bryant did in copying the game or the way of play of MJ. You have to be athletic. You understand me? Because you need certain lift, you need certain footwork, and athleticism help you to be able to do that. Now, when you're looking at the prime Kobe, because a lot of people don't want to deal with the prime Kobe, not only was he a good scorer, but the prime Kobe was an elite athlete by anybody's standard who is not a casual fan, who really know how to analyze NBA and analyze NBA players. He was an elite athlete, okay? Go look at Kobe Bryant. Even Scottie Pippen talked about he had an explosive first step, and you got to be athletic to have an explosive first step. And in his era, in the early 2000s, you know, he was probably top 3 when it comes to explosive step, okay? And we're not talking about being fast. We talk about explosive step. It's a difference between being fast and having an explosive step. And Kobe Bryant had an explosive step. That's why he was able to pull off his crossover, especially going right to left. Okay? And look at this. I want y'all to look at that. But anyway, get back to it. He had an elite vertical. It was reported that his vertical was 40 plus. He had exceptional body control in the air. You have to be athletic to be able to do that. Another thing people don't talk about that Kobe Bryant was very good at, right? And this is high-speed deceleration. That's even rare today. Kobe Bryant was so athletic that he was able to decelerate at the right moment, at the right time. Why? Because he was very athletic. He had lateral quickness. A lot of people don't talk about that. They talk about MJ was lightning quick like a cat. But Kobe Bryant, in the prime of his life, he was close. He was laterally quick also. That's why he was able to be on multiple all defensive teams, okay? That's why he was great at defense in certain situations against certain people, because laterally he was quick, okay? And especially in like 1999 through 2003, when you go look at the prime Kobe, man, Kobe was doing windmills in traffic. Come on, man, let's be real, man. You can't do that unless you're athletic. And then let's not talk about the baseline work that Kobe Bryant used to have, coming from the baseline and taking off on people and dunking. And not only taking off on people dunking, but going from one side of the rim over to the other side of the rim, doing a 360 and banging that thing. And you talk about Kobe Bryant wasn't athletic? Huh? Kobe Bryant also was known for chase down blocks. What are we talking about? And look at this. And you talk about he wasn't athletic? Look at that. Look at that. I just told you, women, talk about he's not athletic. What is we talking about, man? When you push the narrative that Kobe Bryant was not athletic, this is trying to start a revision that comes from dishonesty. Okay? And this agenda has been in the media for a very long time. Very long time. It's even in the media, especially after his death, because, you know, people want to keep Kobe Bryant in the comparison with MJ. Now, let's get back to this. Why did a lot help push Kobe as a great scorer? And mind you, he is a great scorer. But why is this lie of him not being athletic is steady being pushed? Huh? Why is people steady trying to frame Kobe as left athletic? Huh? Taking harder shots. Why? We gotta continue to deal with the thing because I'm trying to deal with the narrative that's been pushed by the media and fanboys. The reason why this narrative have to continue to be pushed because his volume scoring look more impressive than that of MJ, than that of LeBron James. All right? And don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that LeBron James is a better scorer than Kobe Bryant. Don't be stupid. Okay? Please don't be stupid. But I'm going somewhere with this. But this narrative of him being more, less athletic, rather, is being pushed because it even give Kobe Bryant missed shots credit. It give his bad shots credit. His bad shot selection credit. It make it become methodologized. Okay? This is what you got to understand. And people come on, man, for Kobe Bryant to be able to score like that without being athletic. See, MJ, he was able to score because he was very athletic. But when you listen, when you sit down and listen to Phil Jackson talk about them boys, MJ and Kobe Bryant, Phil Jackson said the only difference, okay, this just deal with the natural side. Phil Jackson said the only difference between MJ and Kobe Bryant that give MJ a competitive edge over Kobe Bryant is MJ had bigger hands. He said that's it. and people really didn't understand what Phil Jackson was saying. He killed the narrative right there. He was letting you know, for those of you guys that are saying that Kobe Bryant was not athletic, he was athletic. Okay? He was up there with Jordan as being athletic. For those of you who were saying that he don't have footwork, his footwork was just as good as MJ. His footwork was impeccable. Okay? For you to say that Kobe Bryant wasn't that skilled, he was just right there with, MJ. But what separated MJ is his bigger hands. So Kobe Bryant was, Phil Jackson was killing this narrative all along about Kobe Bryant not being athletic. He letting you know what separated MJ was his hands. His hands was bigger. He was able to pound the ball. But, Kobe Bryant not being athletic is a false narrative, but a powerful entity when it comes to the storytelling of Kobe Bryant being able to score. It conveniently shield him from his efficiency criticism. It shield him from shot selection debates. It shield him from being compared to scorers who rely more on efficiency, IQ. Okay? So this is why this narrative constantly being pushed. Look at that. But, when it's come down to the comparison between MJ, they try to use this. And when you pay attention to the media, even lately, when it comes to modern day players, SGA and what have you, this is what they always talking about. MJ, his bag was being athletic. So they celebrate MJ athleticism. Okay? They rule out footwork. They rule out his dominant fadeaway. They rule out him being arguably, okay? I said arguably, but in my personal opinion, the most fundamental wing player ever. They ruled that out. I don't believe that there's nobody else that was on the wing that was more fundamentally sound than MJ. That's just my personal opinion, but I'm going to say arguably the best fundamentally sound person coming from the wing. That's what they want to rule out. So they always talk about MJ was very athletic to rule that out. Okay? And they downplay Kobe being athletic so that they can keep him gassed up in comparison to MJ, even though he patterned his game after MJ. And people come on, man, Kobe Bryant was obsessive with his skill. Well, how was he obsessive with his skill when his obsession was to play like MJ? What are we talking about? Stop with the deception. Okay? Yes, he was very skilled. Don't misunderstand me. He was very skilled. But to say he was obsessive with his skill and yet when he get out there, he pattern his game after MJ, what is we talking about? What narrative do we want to push? What narrative do we want to believe? What narrative do we want to accept? That he's more skilled or he's very skilled, but yet pattern his game after MJ. Which one it is? Okay? But this notion, MJ is very athletic. He depended on his athleticism only, not on his footwork, not on his fadeaway, not on his skills, not on being fundamentally sound. MJ only depended on his athleticism. That's why he was a good scorer. Kobe, he was not athletic, so that put him above MJ when it comes to scoring. And why was this model framed? It was framed because if you just deal with MJ only being athletic and Kobe not being athletic, you'll have to admit that Kobe is a better scorer. Okay, because you only saying that MJ was athletic, that's the only reason why he was scorer. And we're not talking about when he began to be ground level, when he was no longer Air Jordan. See, everybody want to judge MJ whole career off of 87, 88, 89 being Air Jordan. Not when he was rooted and grounded and developed a fadeaway and had to depend more on his fundamentally sound skill set. Okay? And then the media want to frame Kobe's whole career off of after his Achilles injury, after his knee injury, and they try to say this is his whole legacy of playing this way. But as you can see on the screen, I keep showing over and over that he was very athletic. Okay? But if you admit, come on, if the media admit, as you see on the screen, that Kobe was very athletic, then you have to go to a different argument when it comes to comparison between him and MJ. You have to go to a totally different argument. And this is what people don't want to deal with. And that argument will lead you to see that when it comes to scoring, he was very inefficient in comparison to MJ. The inefficiency of how Kobe scored begins to get louder. And you'll realize that the gap between MJ and Kobe when it comes to scoring, it widens big time. This is what a lot of people don't want to do. So in order to keep that elevated thing about Kobe when it comes to scoring and being in comparison to MJ, they have to downplay his athleticism in order to keep him up there. Well, he was not that athletic like MJ, so that's why MJ efficiency was better. That's why MJ shot 50% from the field and Kobe only shot 44%. Okay? That's why MJ had better shot selection. He was able to get to his spots better because he was more athletic. That's why he was this and that and the other, and he was put in better position because he... See? But when you have to acknowledge that Kobe was very athletic, and then that athleticism in comparison to MJ, you have to come to the realization that his IQ was nowhere on the same level as MJ. Because MJ knew how to get to his spots. He knew the game better. You have to admit that Kobe's shot selection was bad because he didn't have the IQ like MJ. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that Kobe Bryant didn't have no IQ. He knew the game. But we're talking about in comparison to MJ. You have to acknowledge, when you admit that Kobe was very athletic, you have to acknowledge that his efficiency was not on the same level as MJ. Okay? So this is what they pull out when it comes to Kobe Bryant. This is the lot that they push when it comes to Kobe Bryant. This is the narrative that they push when it comes to Kobe Bryant because they want to hide the reality that him in comparison to MJ, when it comes to efficiency, when it comes to IQ, when it comes to the game, He's nowhere close. The gap widens big time. And then you have a lot of people out here that go say, well, he shot the 3-ball better than MJ. And he only shot the 3-ball 0.2 better than MJ. I think MJ is at 32.7 and Kobe Bryant at 32.9. And mind you, that MJ didn't shoot the 3-ball that much. Now, if he played in this era, the 3-point percentage probably would be that much higher, because MJ, when you told him he couldn't do something, he made sure he got in the gym and increased it. And if you go watch, but anyway, man, I just had to come on here and talk about it. I'm going to do a reaction to a video going deeper into this Kobe realization. And like I said, I'm not taking nothing from Kobe. Kobe was a great scorer, but when you add in that he was athletic, you have to bring in other things into debate, and people don't want to bring that into debate. They want to bring in his efficiency when it comes to being compared to MJ. They don't want to bring in his plus minuses when it comes to being compared to MJ. And so to nullify efficiency, to nullify the impact of a person upon a game between him and MJ, people have to downplay his athleticism in order to keep him elevated, okay? But it's a lie. As I've been showing you on the screen, it's a lie. But anyway, hit the like and subscribe. All right, peace.